They did not lie to you about Jesus. Hey guys, it's John here in the studio drinking a giant mug of water. I wanted to hop on and talk about the latest YouTube controversial video title that everyone seems to be using right now. They're lying to you about Jesus. They lied to you about Jesus. The Vatican lied to you about Jesus. The reality of it is they didn't lie to you about Jesus. They didn't. They have no clue about the life of Jeshua, because the scholars think that the books of the Bible that are compiled from earlier texts, right, that those earlier texts were written somewhere between 70 and 200 years after the crucifixion. So those books themselves are written. It'd be like writing about 1900 and 1970, or 19, or now, or today. It'd be about, do any of us really remember the 1900s? Do any of us really remember, who this person was or what that person said? Or, do any of us really remember? Up until they were written down, stories were not written. They were oral tradition. They were handed down through oral tradition. Now, anybody who's played the telephone game knows that you can't get past 10 people without the story changing. So what happens is the actual texts become negotiations. And I love this term because, and I'm giving credit to Dan McClellan because I got it off of one of his videos. I love the idea of negotiation. People come to the texts and they read from their own chosen beliefs, and then they negotiate their beliefs into the text. Now, when you look at the Bible, they can't be lying to us about Jeshua because they don't know Jeshua. None of them know Jeshua, right? None of them. And I often get people who argue, well, Jesus said this. Well, everything that's in the Bible is hearsay. Everything in the Bible is hearsay. Nothing in there was written by Jeshua. None of it in there was actually written down or created a document that says, this is from me directly to you. Everything in the Bible is hearsay. There's even stories of him going into the wilderness at the Garden of Gethsemane and asking God to take the cup away from him because he didn't want to drink its poison, right? To not go to the cross. Who wrote that down? Because the story itself says he went into the wilderness and talked to God on his own. Did he come back and tell everybody what he said? The stories are stories that are created to give Jeshua this deification, this Messiah-like idea. But he was a man who discovered his divinity, was showing us how we can do it too, showing us that we should do it. Take heart, I've overcome the world. The kingdom of heaven is within you. You have faith as small as a mustard seed. You can ask a mountain to move, and it'll move. Nothing's impossible for you. Had washed his disciples' feet so that he could prove he was no better than they. The stories are negotiations with texts that were written by Judaic sects, Judaic Messianic sects, with an agenda to create him the Messiah. Now, the agenda was their chosen. They believed. I truly believe they believed he was the Messiah, even though he turned it down. They kept saying, well, he's not acknowledging it. Now, I could tell you that happens, where somebody will say, no, this is not the case, and they'll say, yes, you are, and they'll still move forward as if what they believe is true about the person and not what the person said. I know this is true because I've had people do that to me. I had someone on a live session one time literally say to me, I know more about what your purpose is than you do, John. And, there are people who in the world who will make themselves feel powerful because of their chosen belief is what their chosen belief is. And so I don't think that they're lying per se. I really don't. I don't think that it's been lying. I think it's people reading their own beliefs into these ancient texts and then putting it out as if it's fact, as if it's truth, because they believe it. They believe it's true, right? But there is no sacred text out there that has not been edited. And even the Codex Sinaiticus found in St. Catherine's Monastery, when they went through it, every page had edits on it. There is no sacred text that is complete and whole and still as it was originally said by the people who supposedly said it. But the the video topics that you see, and you see it on almost every big spiritual channel right now, they lied to you about Jesus. They lied to you about Jesus. They lied to you about Jesus, right? Um, the reason they're doing this is because of the YouTube algorithm. They're literally, they've discovered that title will grab people and drag them in. And so I think it's all far simpler. I also think it all doesn't matter. It only matters what you're believing in the here and now. Just like those people who were writing about Joshua back then, it only believes what you believe in the here and now. And it doesn't matter about him. It matters about you stepping into your power like he said. I leave you one commandment, love one another. Just love one another, right? If you just love one another, your life would be fantastic. Your life would be phenomenal. The world would become loving because you would be loving your fellow man. Whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. He's talking about oneness, about being one with everyone. The Father and I are one, and you must become one with me as I am with the Father. He's talking about you having your own individual power, your own individual power of creation, and you have the ability to create a loving world. He's telling you that you have this ability, and it's not about him, it's about you. So I don't think they lied to us about Jeshua. I think that they were literally marrying their belief system to Jeshua through a negotiation with the text. Well, this must mean this. This must mean this. If you go on my other channel, I talk about the Gnostic text, right? Now, I'm not saying that's what those books actually say. I'm giving you my interpretation, right? I'm reading my beliefs into those texts. And I don't expect anyone to take what I say as fact. I don't, or as the truth. All I do is I speak my truth on my two channels, and I share what my beliefs say. And if it rings true for you, try it out. And if it doesn't ring true for you, don't try it out. It's not about me. All the power is yours. All the power is yours. And that's what Jeshua taught. But these same people who everyone says is lying about Jeshua is actually are actually just negotiating their beliefs into the text. And I'm sure there's some manipulations here and there that look, we have this thing that we believe here, and we can use this to turn the masses towards us. I'm sure that's in there. Look, this character is so amazingly great. We should raise their status, or we should make them more important. Like Peter, he's now the head of the church, whereas the Gnostic texts say James, right? Catholic Church says Mother Mary has got to be like this holy sacred figure. That was a Catholic thing, right? So it's their belief systems, and they choose their stories, and they do it. But I don't think it was a malicious lie. I think it was their chosen beliefs, and they're telling you their chosen beliefs. But the key really is to not care about what they're saying. Only care about what you're hearing and what feels right to you. Use your discernment to step into the power. I don't think they lied. I think they were using their discernment, and then they were embellishing the parts that were their discernment and showing off their discernment. And so, did they lie to us about Joshua? I don't think so. Are we getting mad because YouTube titles are saying someone lied to us? That's why they make the titles the way they do. The reality of it is no, they didn't lie to you about Joshua. They didn't know Joshua. So how could they lie about him? They don't know anything. Didn't know him. And so when you look at it from the perspective of the Bible and its infallacy, Scholars will tell you Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, the first book of the Bible. Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 came from two different source texts, and they're in the wrong order. We know that. Judas was killed in two different ways in the Bible. The walking on water story is three different versions in the Bible. The Old Testament says God is vengeful and jealous. The New Testament says God is love. So which is it, right? It really comes down to realizing that nothing in the Bible is factual. It's all stories and mythologies that are created by people with belief. But the reality of it is that none of it's infallible and none of it's factual. And the only person who can choose to find meaning in any of the texts, all the ones, the Bhagavad Gita, all of them, right? The Quran, the writings of Buddha, all of those are simply interpretation by people who were reading from their faith into them. And it really comes down to you doing the same in the present, in the here and now. Don't worry about anybody who, quote unquote, lied to you. Doesn't matter. Did it feel right? Did you buy into their story? Right? Did you begin to believe what they believe? I personally think it's all far simpler. Love one another. That's what he said. Right? I leave you this one commandment: love one another. Just love one another. It's that simple. It's that simple. Live a loving, joyful life. There's nothing outside of you that's important, and there's nothing anybody else has said that's important, really, me included. The only thing that matters is what you believe and what your choices are and what you decide to live into in this life. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.